You've been around for so long, man, and you've had so much success. But back in the day, kind of before it happened, I wanted to ask, what was that change in pace like for you initially, after Take You Higher, the kind of the big boom for you, and how do you keep your creative energy flowing all these years later?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Not really hard, but like I'm a creative person anyway. I used to be a graphic designer before I started production and DJing. So I was kind of like, I always have like a creative mind, and my mind's always like ticking over. Yeah, I mean, going from like design to music was just another part of the creative process. I'm constantly like, I find myself constantly inspired. I'm very lucky like that, where I hear something on the radio, or I'm out in the club and I'm like, oh damn, that sounds good, or I'm kind of just, my mind's always going, like I've always got something bouncing around in my head, like a new idea for a track. So
absolutely.
But I do have my moments where I lack inspiration, and then I've learned through, all my years of production and so forth, that, you don't force those kinds of things. You just kind of like take a break, go for a drive, take the dog out, whatever.
Go to Yosemite.
That's what I do on the weekend, man. So
that's right.
You start knowing yourself, I suppose, in those circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always like to ask people, success is kind of, in today's age, who's famous or who's rich or who's popular. But I think the people who do it the longest in music are the people who enjoy it along the way. And success is just something that comes along with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's music's a big part of my life. Like, growing up in my household, like my dad would play like a lot of old records, and I'd be listening to like Led Zeppelin, and nice. My mom would love like Joni Mitchell, like a lot of 70s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and then my dad had a guitar lying around the house, which I just picked up and taught myself how to play. But then it never really became like, not work, you know what I mean, but never really took over until like I was working my design job, and I was just like, I just needed more satisfaction with my creativity. So yeah, it's evolved into like, moving to LA and, leaving my family and friends behind in Sydney, which is, it's kind of crazy when I do these interviews and think about like how much has changed.